Hi everyone. This part will be guided towards absolute beginners that don't know anything about Blender or sculpting or modeling. So this shouldn't be used as your main source of knowledge, because what I will cover here will be in a very fast pace. So if these concepts that I will show here seem foreign to you, I recommend that you check out Donut tutorial or Donut course from Blender Guru. I will link it below, and it will set you right into the sculpting course. So first thing first, before you even touch Blender, before you start doing any work in there, I want you to realize that it's not only the physical part that you do is important, it's also what you have in your head. The way that you think will eventually show in the way that you act. You see, and in order to maximize the results, and I absolutely believe that if you complete this course, you will be able to sculpt a good looking dinosaur like 9 out of 10 times. Like, you can be an absolute beginner, because this is not that crazy difficult if you concentrate. First of all, you need to understand that you can do it. You can learn it. Like, if I did it, why can't you do it? All right, that's a simple thing, and I want you to focus on it and don't skip around. Because if you skip around, you might not have the results that you want to have, right? There are no shortcuts. The only shortcut that exists is doing the hard stuff that you don't want to do, which brings the results, all right? And second of all, if you are committed, I want you to get a graphic tablet. I rock Wacom Intuos Comic Small, I think that's the name of it. But you can get any Wacom Intuos. They're not crazy expensive, and you might tell me, but I can sculpt with mouse and you get good results with it. And I can tell you, yes, that's true. But the reason why you should invest into a tablet is simple. Like, think about this. You have a plate of soup. Let there be like a beetroot soup, because I ate it today. And imagine you're trying to eat it with a fork, right? And you can do it, but it will take you 1 hour. But hey, look, this guy is eating with a fork. You can do it. Why would you invest in a spoon? And I think the answer is obvious. Getting a spoon will make you better at eating soup. You will eat it faster, and you will have more time to do other stuff. So it's the same with sculpting with a tablet and sculpting with a mouse. All right. So it doesn't need to be some crazy expensive one. Like this tablet is fine. It will take you a while to understand what you are doing is being shown on the screen, but it's like every habit. It takes time to adapt. All right. And another thing, I know that's gonna be the last theoretical thing in this level, is that 20% of effort gives 80% of results. So let's say we have this 100% a chunk of knowledge and experience which you can possibly get about sculpting dinosaurs or certain subjects such as dinosaur anatomy, let's say. And you could be researching the names of the muscles, like femoralis, I don't know, a bunch of names, fenestra, which is hole in the skull of a dinosaur. And you see, you do not need to understand everything. You just need to understand the 20% of the subject in order to produce 80% of the results. And I've basically explored the subject enough I believe, that I can tell you what are the 20% that will get you the results, and you can start building up from that point using the same principle. All right, so I will be mainly covering, following the course by following the 80-20 rule. If you want to know a bit more about it, it's called Pareto rule, if you are not familiar with it. Right, enough of the theory. I want you to download Blender 4.5.2, which is the newest version that is a release candidate. And it's important that you get this one, not older ones, because this one has improved performance when it comes to big amounts of polygons. And I will get into that soon. So now I will cover the simple stuff about how to move in Blender. So let me turn the screencast keys, right? And the middle mouse allows you to orbit. Shift plus middle mouse is pan. And that's basically it. No, there's more into it. So on the numpad, which is the right side of the keyboard, you have these numbers, right? From 1 to 9. So number 1 gives you the orthographical view front, which is like the longest possible focal view. 1, 3, which is side, 7, which is top, and that's about it. And like there's variations to it. If you hold Control and you press 1, it's back. If you hold Control and press 3, Control and 3, it's the other side. Control 7, it's bottom. Alright, so this is it. If you wish to enter the orthographic mode, which is different lens, you can see it's written here, user orthographic, you just press 5 on the numpad. Alright. And on the numpad also, you have that little dot button, which helps you to move to certain object in an instant. And when you, A to select all, X to delete, and then we want to create a sphere. And let's get into sculpting. So Control Tab gets you into this pie menu, in which you can select different options. We will use object mode, which we are right now. We have sculpt mode right here, and then we have edit mode, which allows you to move vertices or other stuff around, but we'll get into it soon. So let's go to sculpt mode, and now in order to see better, you need to do two very important things. So you press N to open this menu on the side, you go to view, and you go to focal length, and you enter 100 millimeters to have a better view. And why is that? You see, if you decrease it like up to 2, you will have this terrible fish eye effect, which is less than good for details and stuff. So if you start increasing it, it becomes wider, like for the shots of close-up shots. So the lesser focal length in photography is used for landscapes and stuff, but the more focal length, the more up close stuff you photograph. So I like to use 100, which is perfect for sculpting. And then in lighting, to see all the crevices and hollow stuff, you go to matcap, and you can rock this one, you can rock this one or this one. And if you wish to rock this one, which I really like, you can download it for free from Gumroad. I will send it, I will show it in the description, the link to it. So I'll be using this one. Alright, yeah, you can save it if you want, but I will not, because this is a test thing. And then you press X to enable symmetry, and this is what you want to do. So let's go to the front and let's start sculpting. So now on the screen you can see all the hotkeys for all the important brushes, and yeah, here's the thing also, that we have, I think, I don't know, 48 brushes, but really we only are going to use around 20% of these, which, you see, the Pareto rule applies to this as well. Okay, so the workflow looks like this, that we are step by step getting more and more details as we proceed. So right now this sphere has not too much polygons and yeah, faces basically. And when you press R, you have this grid that shows you how many polygons this sphere will have. So R to open this, and then if you want to go lower, you left click and press Ctrl R, which adds more geometry, trying to make it as even as possible. Okay, so this is basically the workflow of Remesh. I don't use Dinotopo. I don't really know what it does, but this is what we will stick with. And now all the brushes starting from the draw brush. So draw brush basically adds mass very evenly. It can be used to adding some simple shapes early on with the sculpt. Alright. So when you hold left mouse click, or on pen you just touch, you do this. If you hold Control, you will dig in, so we will do the opposite of what you do with just this. Also the hotkeys for the pen, if you have these two buttons, for the button that is closest to the tip is the middle mouse, because you can orbit easily around and you can pan around. If you hold Control and middle mouse, which is the closest one to the tip, you can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so this is it. And for the furthest button, I like to basically have right click, which can be useful at times, but I don't really use it. I mainly use just this one. Okay, so we have the draw brush, and number one, it's hotkey number one, it's the draw sharp brush, which allows you to show forms as well, but it's just sharper, as the name suggests. Okay, and then with Control you can sculpt stuff as well. Also, a very common misconception about sculpting is that people go about it as if it was drawing. So, you know, I draw this form, and this is not true. Well, partially, because if I were to compare it to drawing, it's drawing a subject but from all angles at the same time. So in here, volume is gonna be extremely important, and there's no better brush for adding volume and removing volume as the clay strips, which is number 2. Let's maybe remesh it and give it more geometry, and it is used to add these forms. Also remember to enable size pressure. I don't know why, but by default it's turned off. So yeah, what it does is when you press very lightly, you do this. If you hold with a lot of strength, it will have more strength and bigger radius. So yeah, it is pretty important for adding and removing mass, where we are going to use it relatively often, like for muscles and stuff. And yeah, if you hold Shift, you will smooth out what you have created. So Shift any brush that you wish. It could be draw, it could be also grab. brush, which is also one of the best brushes. Allows you to move geometry freely, just like that. Okay. This is what it does. Next up, we have flatten contrast brush, which allows to let's remesh it, which allows to create planes on forms, just like that. I don't use it that often, but it can be useful when it comes to simplifying stuff. Next up, it's inflate deflate. As the name suggests, it inflates. So it can be used to close gaps, like I am using now draw sharp. Okay, I'm doing this, but I don't like how much of a hole it has created. So I get inflate and I close it off. And then I can use grab brush to put it in place. Alright. So next up, it's the crease brush, which has to be one of my favorite brushes, and as the name suggests, it creases. So it can crease like that, and if you hold Control, it can do something like this. Okay? Nothing too crazy. And then, next up, one more last thing, which I skipped, is masking. You press M and you can draw certain parts to be untouched by any sculpting tool. Okay, and you can Control I to invert the mask, and you can maybe, I don't know, pull out the geometry to add ears, for example, whatever you want it to be. And then you can also, if you hold A, you can sharpen mask, you can grow mask, invert mask, increase contrast, smooth mask, decrease contrast, clear mask, and so on. Or Alt M, which is a shortcut to get rid of mask. Now let's give him eyes, because why not? Next up, which is a thing that we will need to do at one point, is modeling. Alright, so Shift A to add a new object, and we select cube. Move it, and we have a cube. Tab to enter edit mode, and we have 3 options, which is vertex mode, 2, which is edge selection, and 3, which is face selection. So faces are these, edges are these, just like with geometry. And then vertices are these points, basically. So in modeling, the basic things are extruding with E, R to rotate, scale to scale, S to scale, and I to do this, which is insert faces. It might come in handy sometimes, which just creates a copy of this, and you can make it smaller or bigger. This a copy of a face. Okay. So yeah, if you are extruding like this, and you don't like the axis that is going on, you press Z. You can do it freely. And if you want to move it along X-axis, if you want to be precise, you press X and you move it on X. If you want Z, you press Z. If you want Y, you move it on Y. And if you want to move at a local axis, which for it's like inverted because up is here, if it makes sense. Okay, another option, which is loop cut, and loop cut. So create these, you can add more geometry basically. So with scroll you can add and decrease the amount, and when you press left click you can move it around, and if you don't want to move it around you press escape. And Yeah, I think that's all when it comes to basic, super basic modeling. Yeah, and with Alt you can select edge loops. Yeah, like here, here, here. Okay. And then I will get to modifiers, which you can find under this French key, I think. I don't know what's it called. You press add modifiers and we will only use 3 modifiers. Let me turn my lamp on. First one being the subdivision surface modifier, which allows you to add more geometry following the blueprint of previous geometry. So you can increase the levels of geometry by doing this, adding and then subtracting the amount of geometry, right? In order to apply it, you go to this drop down and press apply, or Ctrl A to apply. Yeah, Ctrl Z to go back, obviously. So this is that, and we also have mirror modifier, which you should assign it to Alt M, and you basically mirror. So in order, you can mirror it around certain object as being it as the middle part, kind of. So let's select this creature here, and bam, it's mirrored. Amazing. Okay. Another modifier, which we are going to use for limbs and fingers and stuff. You Shift A, you choose whatever object you want. Let it be the monkey. You go to Tab, and you press X to delete all the vertices. So now what you can do is freely add vertices. So with Control and right click, Control, yeah, I was in the, you need to be in the vertex mode to see vertices, obviously. You create one vertex, and then you can freely create any shape that you wish. Right, we can go to another axis. Yeah, Alt Z to enable this X-ray mode. You can move it freely. Let's go to the front and move it along axis. Yeah, if you want to move it around excluding certain axes, move or scale or rotate G and then Shift Z, and it's gonna move everywhere but Z. G, Shift X, Shift X everywhere but X axis. Okay, and since we have put it here, we add skin modifier, which adds geometry and the vertices being the guide to it. Alright, so we have this weird stuff. If we press Ctrl 2, which is hotkey for subdivision, we are able to basically add more geometry to that skin. If you press Alt Z, you can see and freely move this stuff around. Okay. If you wish to make certain parts smaller or bigger, you select one vertex and Ctrl A, and you can move your mouse to make it bigger or smaller. Okay, that's such a odd creature, odd looking creature. So these are gonna, yeah, if you want to, by the way, it's a tip, if you want to apply all the modifiers at the same time, you right click, convert to, and mesh, and bam, you can apply all the modifiers. You don't have to apply, okay? And yeah, the course is gonna be a mix of using these tools, basically. Nothing too crazy. That's looking very weird. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next level. See ya.